responsible for so much of my life. And all of a sudden this window opened up where I was safe, I had money.
Meet his brother, Charlie Sheen. You got to see Martin Sheen as a father. I get why you kind of fell in love with this guy.
Willis?
Yes.
Yes, I knew he would be. I mean, even though I went over everything yesterday, I knew he'd forget.
Unsettled by a woman who is 15 years older.
Gosh, I don't know. It's so silly. People say, "Are you Emma Roberts?"
Or if they're being nice to me.
My favorite is when actually we were shooting in the movie, and I was out for a walk on a day off, and somebody said, "Oh my God, are you that girl from Friends?"
Thank you so much, and welcome back to the show. Thanks for coming on our show. Look at you here on the cover of Variety.
It's somewhat surreal.
Yeah, I can't.
Doing this a long time, like over 45 years, and this is the first time I've ever won anything as an actor.
How come you never made a pass at me?
Shouldn't all women be paid equal to the quality of the work they're doing? And I feel like Ghost was very similar. It's like, okay, we're gonna do a comedy, a thriller, and a romance. The reviews were disastrous.
Yeah.
For Ghost.
And then.
Wow, I can't trust myself because I actually thought I saw something that was good.
And I love the.
Hey guys, Demi Moore just exposed some seriously dark secrets about Ashton Kutcher, and her private journal entries are absolutely shocking. At 62, she's finally revealing the disturbing truth about their marriage, and trust me, what she's sharing about his predatory patterns will make your skin crawl. Today we're breaking down the disturbing contents of Demi's private journals, how Ashton used their age gap to manipulate her, never before seen evidence of his calculated actions, the real reason behind those cheating scandals, why she stayed silent for so long, and proof that this goes way deeper than anyone realized. Plus, we have exclusive details from people who witnessed everything behind closed doors. But guys, what these journal entries reveal will make your jaw drop. Let's dive into these private journal entries because what Demi wrote about their relationship is absolutely chilling. She kept detailed accounts of Ashton's manipulation tactics, and reading them now, the pattern is crystal clear. One particularly disturbing entry from 2009 reads, he says, "I'm imagining things again. The lipstick on his collar, the late night calls, the deleted messages. He tells me it's all in my head. But I saw the texts. I saw them with my own eyes." Demi describes how Ashton would regularly gaslight her, making her question her own reality. But wait until you see what she wrote about their wedding night. This is horrifying. The journals reveal how calculated Ashton was from the very beginning. He would specifically plan public appearances where their age gap would be most noticeable, then comfort her about it later. One entry says, "He set me up to feel insecure, then swooped in as my savior. It's like he needs me to feel broken so he can fix me." But here's what's really disturbing. Demi documented how Ashton would use her sobriety struggles against her. She writes, "It keeps telling me that real alcoholics can't ever drink normally. Then he leaves bottles of wine in every room, telling me I just need to learn control. I feel like I'm going crazy. And trust me, what comes next will make your blood be oil." The most shocking entries are about how he treated her daughters. Demi details specific incidents where Ashton would deliberately create tension between her and her girls, then position himself as their confidant. She writes, "He's turning my own children against me, but doing it so subtly that they think he's protecting them from me. I feel so helpless." Now let's talk about how Ashton weaponized their age difference, because what Demi's revealing about his tactics is seriously disturbing. She's finally exposing how he used their 15-year age gap as a psychological weapon. According to Demi's journals, Ashton had this whole system for making her feel insecure about her age. He'd purposely schedule dates at young Hollywood hotspots, then act like the supportive husband when she felt out of place. One entry reads, "He suggested Chateau Marmont again, where all the 20-somethings hang out, then spent the whole night pointing out how amazing I look for my age." But guys, his mind games get even more twisted. The most calculated move? Ashton would deliberately leave gossip magazines around their house, ones that specifically highlighted their age difference. But here's what's really sick. He'd dog-ear pages about younger actresses, making sure Demi would find them. Her therapist later identified this as a form of psychological warfare. Sources close to the couple reveal how Ashton would play both sides of their age gap. In public, he'd praise Demi for being a mature woman, but in private, he'd make subtle digs about her keeping up with him. One former assistant overheard him saying, It must be exhausting trying to stay young for me. And what he did on her 50th birthday will make you sick. Demi writes about how Ashton turned her milestone birthday into a nightmare. Instead of celebrating, he threw a party filled with his young tech friends and actresses in their 20s. Then he gave her a membership to a high-end medical spa, suggesting she might need it soon. Her journal entry that night simply reads, "I've never felt older or more alone in my life." Let's dive into what Demi's revealing about Ashton's infidelity, because these journal entries expose a seriously disturbing pattern. This wasn't just random cheating, it was calculated psychological torture. Demi documents how Ashton would specifically choose significant dates for his affairs. The Sarah Leal incident? That was their wedding anniversary. The hot tub photos? The day after Demi's miscarriage. Her journal entry from that period is heartbreaking. "He knew I was home grieving our baby, while he was out with girls younger than my daughters. The timing wasn't an accident." But wait until you hear about the security footage. This is absolutely disgusting. The journals reveal how Ashton would bring these young women into their family home. Demi writes about discovering security footage of him giving tours of their house, letting these girls try on her clothes and use her personal items. One particularly cruel detail: he'd let them sleep in their marital bed while Demi was away filming. But here's where it gets really dark. Demi found evidence that Ashton was actually coordinating with paparazzi to capture these cheating moments. Her private investigator discovered emails where his team would tip off photographers about where he'd be with these young women. He wanted her to see the photos. And trust me, what these text messages reveal will shock you. The most calculated part? Ashton had a whole system for selecting his targets. Demi found a group chat where he and his friends would discuss potential girls, specifically looking for ones who were barely legal. They even had a rating system based on how likely the girls were to keep quiet. One message actually read, "Find the ones with something to lose. They're less likely to talk." Let's talk about how Ashton systematically destroyed Demi's relationship with her daughters, because what these journal entries reveal about his tactics is absolutely chilling. Demi writes about how Ashton would create these elaborate scenarios to make her look unstable in front of her girls. He'd purposely trigger her anxiety, then call Rumor, Scout, and Tallulah over to witness the aftermath. One entry reads, "He knew I was having a panic attack, but he invited the girls for dinner anyway, then acted concerned about my emotional state in front of them." But guys, what he told these girls about their mom will make you furious. The journals detail how Ashton would have private conversations with each daughter, planting seeds of doubt about Demi's stability. He'd share twisted versions of their arguments, making himself look like the protective stepdad dealing with their difficult mother. Rumor recently confirmed this, saying, "He'd tell us things about mom that we now know were completely manipulated versions of the truth." But here's where it gets really sinister. Demi discovered that Ashton was secretly recording her emotional moments. He'd save these recordings and strategically show them to the girls, but only the parts that made Demi look irrational. Her journal entry about finding these recordings is devastating. "He's been documenting my worst moments and using them against me with my own children." And what happened at family therapy will leave you speechless. During family therapy sessions, the true extent of his manipulation became clear. The therapist identified how Ashton had been using classic parental alienation tactics. He'd comfort the girls about their mom's issues while simultaneously creating situations that would trigger Demi's trauma responses. One therapy note reads, "This appears to be a calculated effort to isolate the client from her support system." Now let's expose how Ashton used Demi's money and connections, because these journal entries reveal some seriously calculated financial schemes. This wasn't just about emotional manipulation, he was playing a long game with her wealth too. Demi writes about how Ashton would use their intimate moments to pitch investment opportunities. After particularly emotional fights, he'd suddenly bring up these amazing tech ventures they could invest in together. Her journal entry reads, "He waits until I'm vulnerable, then talks about our future together through these investments. It feels like he's using my guilt to access my money. But wait until you see what the financial records exposed. This is criminal." The journals detail how Ashton would strategically position himself in Silicon Valley, using Demi's connections and reputations. He'd arrange meetings with major investors, using her name to get in the door. But here's what's really twisted. Once inside, he'd actually mock their marriage to seem more relatable to the young tech bros. One venture capitalist finally came forward about witnessing this. But the most calculating move? Demi discovered Ashton had been secretly moving his money out of their joint investments months before each cheating scandal went public. Her financial advisors found a pattern. He'd transfer funds right before being photographed with young women. It was like he was preparing for the fallout before creating it. And what these investment documents reveal will make your jaw drop. The journals show how Ashton used Demi's insecurities to convince her to invest in his riskier ventures. When she'd express doubt, he'd suggest she was too old to understand tech. Then he'd push her to prove him wrong by investing more. One heartbreaking entry reads, "I keep throwing money at his projects, hoping it'll make him see me as valuable again. What happened to me?" The way Hollywood is reacting to these journal revelations is absolutely fascinating. Let's break down how these exposed secrets are creating a massive shift in how the industry views age gap relationships and power dynamics. Major studios are completely reevaluating their approach to May-December romances in both casting and content. 3 upcoming films have already rewritten scripts that originally glamorized large age gaps. One producer anonymously shared, "Demi's journals exposed how these relationships can be used as weapons. We can't keep promoting this dynamic." But guys, what these industry insiders just revealed will blow your mind. The impact on Ashton's career is particularly interesting. His carefully crafted nice guy image is crumbling fast. Tech companies are distancing themselves from him, especially after reading how he used Demi's vulnerability to build his investment portfolio. Silicon Valley insiders say at least 5 major startups have quietly bought back his shares. That 70s show connection is becoming really problematic too. Cast members are being asked about Demi's revelations, especially given what we now know about that set's toxic culture. Sources say there are more stories about Ashton's conduct during those years that align perfectly with Demi's journal entries. And trust me, what these former co-stars are about to reveal will shock everyone. But here's what's really interesting. Mila Kunis's team is in full crisis mode. These journals expose patterns in Ashton's relationships that are uncomfortably similar to how he started dating Mila. The age gaps, the timing, the power dynamics, it's all there. Industry insiders say Mila's publicist is working overtime to distance her from these comparisons. This situation is far from over, and based on what industry insiders are telling me, these journal revelations are just the beginning. The ripple effects through Hollywood are causing massive changes in how power dynamics and age gap relationships are viewed. Multiple actresses are now coming forward with similar stories about older male co-stars using age gaps to manipulate them. They're calling it the Demi effect, women finally feeling empowered to expose these predatory patterns. Sources say at least 3 major exposés are being prepared by different publications. But hold on to your seats, because what's coming next will change everything. The legal implications are fascinating too. Demi's journals are apparently being used in several ongoing harassment cases in Hollywood. Her detailed documentation of manipulation tactics is helping lawyers establish patterns of predatory conduct in the industry. One legal expert called these journals a blueprint for exposing psychological abuse in Hollywood. The impact on younger actresses is particularly significant. Casting directors report that young female talents are now specifically asking about age gaps in romantic scenes. They're requesting protections in their contracts against being paired with significantly older male leads. It's literally changing how movies are being cast. And what these new industry guidelines reveal will make your skin throb. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Do you think more of Demi's journals will be released? Should Mila Kunis address these revelations? Will this change how Hollywood portrays age gap relationships? What other secrets might these journals expose? Hey guys, hit that subscribe button because the story is developing fast. My sources say there's more evidence coming, including additional journal entries from different years, new testimonies from other actresses, shocking financial documents, and evidence that could expose an entire system of industry manipulation. Turn on those notifications because based on what industry insiders are telling me, what's coming next could expose decades of Hollywood's darkest secrets. Together, we're uncovering the truth about how power really works in the entertainment industry.